Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal the International. I'm called Maureen. This exactly at 6:15 at Top Stories. For and against the spatial status for the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon are still to agree on its substance and to draw a line on its content. Our CPP leader Edith Kawala has expressed indignation on Cameroon's political situation, saying a bottom-to-top conflict resolution approach is needed to rest the protracting conflicts in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, and the need for the elderly to receive access to the digital world and help them become active participants to enrich their lives and that of their country. The focus of the International Day of the Elderly Person celebrated this October 1, 2021. Those were major stories. Details right ahead. Proponents are for and against the spatial status for the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon are still to agree on its substance and draw a line on its content. In the following report, Kejan Henry Atembe says the two schools are now looking at each other eyeball to eyeball. His story.
2 years after the much trumpeted spatial status granted the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon as a solution to the 5-year armed conflict, proponents against the spatial status hold that the so-called panacea to the conflict is an empty document.
This official reaction or assessment is given in the form of a book. No spatial status, pas de statut spécial. It's a book that has been written by the honorary chair of our movement, Dr. Simon Munzum, and I recommend all Cameroonians, especially West Cameroonians, to read that book. It is not his opinion, it is a line-by-line assessment of the law itself. And when you read that law, when you read the book, you cannot help but come out with anger. The question you ask yourself is why? Why would our president sign such a law knowing that it's empty?
In a 117-page political reflection with an insight on the Anglophone question, a frontline actor, Dr. Simon Munzu, says there is nothing special in the spatial status document. He has dissected the Anglophone question from 1954 till when the crisis flagged off in 2016. Dr. Munzu has proposed solutions to the crisis. Elsewhere, proponents of the spatial status hold that, reading through the lines, there is much from the outcome of the major national dialogue.
If people had taken the pains to read through the spatial status, they will discover that it was a major breakthrough. Why am I saying it? I'm saying so because, first of all, let's begin with the major national dialogue. I think the major national dialogue was a success. Why? Because, first of all, the major national dialogue came to disown or disprove those who went around claiming that there weren't any Anglophone problems in this country.
Cameroonians are trapped in the whirlpool of a protracted conflict which has led to the death of 5,000 people, 600,000 refugees, with over 200 villages burned, and over 700,000 internally displaced persons, 51% of whom are women and children.
And since we are talking about the measure national dialogue 2 years after, what impacts in the crisis zones, that is the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, we call in touch with a political analyst, Nixon Guayam.
What we did 2 years ago was not exactly what was expected to solve the problem, and that's why we're having so many difficulties and nothing is getting done. It's just so unfortunate. What we called a dialogue was actually a monologue, and we need to go back to the drawing board and have a proper dialogue that respects the rules of the game of what dialogue is. Do it in a scientific and a proper manner, not a political dialogue, but a real proper dialogue. I mean, not a political monologue, but rather a proper dialogue that is a round table dialogue where things are on the table and they are discussed with respect for each other and not the way we did them last time. That's why we're in such a mess, and we keep telling ourselves stories, special status, this, that, and that. Those are all stories, and you know that special status has got its weakness. If you look at page, I think it's page 116 or so, where they're talking about governors giving power off to elected officials, you can see that there's no time frame to it. So those are things that need to be corrected.
CPP leader Edith Kawala has expressed indignation on Cameroon's political situation, saying what is needed now is a bottom-to-top conflict resolution approach to solve the ongoing conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. She was speaking in a press conference today in Douala. Kejan Heratembe was part of that press conference. His story.
Cameroon's People's Party, the CPP of Edith Kawala, revisits Cameroon's history 60 years after independence. At the press conference on Friday, October 1, which marks the anniversary, Kawala and CPP laments on what she described as a political accident which has caused Cameroon a lot.
The dialogue now, according to the Cameroon People's Party, must start from the ground up. It can no longer be a top-down dialogue. It must start from the ground up. We must go down to the 13 divisions that constitute Northwest and Southwest region. Government should sit with other political actors, with other stakeholders. The opposition must be at the table. And let us agree on a group of mediators, credible mediators, coming from the religious organizations, coming from the lawyers, coming from the humanitarian organizations, coming from young people in associations. There are so many credible people in this country who are right now working on this crisis, providing solutions.
The CPP leader expressed her frustration on the constitutional blunder which has led to untold sufferings of Cameroonians.
Release all non-violent political prisoners. There are hundreds of people in jail today, and you cannot convince them and their families that you want justice, that they can be a part of a just and free Cameroon if these people remain in jail.
Reviewing the present situation, Edith Kawala has called on conflicting parties of the present situation to stop the bloodbath in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon through a ceasefire. She still holds that the only way out is genuine dialogue, which must be inclusive with the 13 divisions of the northwest and southwest regions involved in what she calls a bottom-to-top conflict resolution approach. According to Kawala, a monumental error is that of governance, where spatial, cultural, linguistic and socio-political needs of the Anglophones are not taken into consideration.
The need for the elderly to receive access to the digital world and also on how to enrich themselves and become active participants in the development of the country. A theme for this year's International Day for the Elderly Persons that was celebrated this October 1 across the globe. In Cameroon, the ceremony was chaired by the Minister of Social Affairs. As we end the following story with Beatrice Ngamu.
This 2021 edition of the International Day of Older Persons is to give these senior citizens the same opportunity like the younger generation. It is in line with this year's theme, Digital Equity for All Ages.
It will enable them to solve their daily problems, because most of the time we know that they have like medical problems. And this person had a career in their life. They have experience. They have a know-how in many domains. We want to help them to continue contributing to the development of our nation.
Very new for some, familiar to others who not only own Android phones, but knows how to manipulate them.
Je vais apprendre et je connais ma manière. On nous vole ça beaucoup. Je veux blender ça.
The Ministry of Social Affairs engagement to this group also outlined.
It's all about facilitating ownership in order to create an informed commitment by all actors.
The elderly were drilled on the new information and communication technologies and its advantages, that of reducing distance, easy access to information, health services and entertainment, among many. Lessons on how to manage retirement, which is not a fatality, but rather time to face everything and rise, was part of the day.
It's a picture of the future. What would I be in my retirement? It's very powerful.
Labeled witches because of their age, anthropologist Francois Bingono debunked that saying, witchcraft has no age. The celebration was at the headquarters of the National Office of Ex-Servicemen here in Yaoundé.
It's a very kind gesture that we show and reinforce our hopes for a fair society where people live together in peace.
Free voluntary COVID-19 vaccination was also available for the elderly.
Suspects involved in the trafficking of cement for the erection of a wall around the Nashigo Dam have been arrested by gendarmes in Yaoundé. They were nabbed with hundreds of bags of the cement in their hideouts. More with our student journalist in Yaoundé.
The swing lane of construction materials testing for public projects has become so rampant in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé. These are more than 1,000 bags of cement uncovered from the hands of unscrupulous individuals. Cement made for the construction of a Nactigal protection wall. Unfortunately for them, the National Gendarmerie of the Central Region had their eyes on them. This Monday, they fished them out.
Since few months, we received some information reveal the traffic of cement in the city of Yaoundé. This cement comes from Douala and should be supplied to the Nactigal barrage.
According to the National Legion Gendarmerie of the Center, the business operates in a chain from the truck driver transporting the cement from Douala to the buyer based at some neighboring holds in Yaoundé. Following an alert from the illicit trafficking of cement, the National Gendarmerie launched an operation to track down the culprits. An investigation was peeled off supposed traffickers last September 27. This action has greatly affected the construction site, imposing a delay on the deadline. The National Gendarmerie has equally promised to continue investigating in the city of Yaoundé to track down more individuals involved in such a black business.
Some judicial police officials have received techniques on how to better track down custom and tax false phenomenon, which you say is current now in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, and other parts of the country. The capacities of the police top officials, superintendents, and assistant superintendents of different grades enhanced not only to fish out individuals involved in the acts, but also to equally recover the heavy sums of money involved. Cha completes that story.
There are 45 in number judicial police officials drilled on appropriate techniques of investigating fiscal tax fraud, as well as economic and financial investigation tactics on official documents, enterprises and para-public structures, receiving their end-of-course attestations this October 1st at the National Advanced Police School in Yaoundé. The laureates pledge money retrieval as their end result after each monetary inquiry.
If we could go home with one thing, it will be that, in the words of our retired Commissioner of Police, Motazier, a financial investigation carried out by a judicial police officer that does not lead to the tracing of money in brackets, for to Delhi, will be a total waste of time.
The 3 weeks training, the agents are confident, have provided them ample tools to widen their knowledge of investigations in different domains.
Before this time, I was unable to dictate faults in certain domains with accuracy. But as of now, as I speak, I am able to dictate, even in the domain of customs, frauds, and transmit to whoever as the law recommends.
Emphasis were equally laid on the accurate legal proceedings on supposed criminals, putting the police out of professional blunder.
All the legal steps a judicial police officer has to follow currently in order not to make mistakes and in order not to let criminals outside while innocent people in prison.
This is the second session of the training of the Cameroonian police judicial officials, an initiative of the German Technical Cooperation, GIZ, aimed at reinforcing the capacities of the Delegation General for National Security in dismantling criminal networks and facilitating the maintenance of law and order.
Canal, the journalist Julio Trezo Tanon has defended his thesis on how the social media influences newsrooms with focus on qualified images and stock photos, a project that was highly appreciated by members of the juries at the Faculty of Letters and Human Sciences at the University of Douala. More in the following story. The influence of the social media on quality reporting with focus on the collection, treatment and dissemination of unqualified stock photos, pictures and images, what impact on the media landscape captivated these members of the jury, who are lecturers at the Faculty of Letters and Human Sciences at the University of Douala. Defending his thesis, Canal, the journalist Julio Trezo Tanon explained the choice of his team and proposes solutions to media houses.
The training we are giving them here is also trying to make them improve upon what they have, where they work, because most of them are workers, and we are trying to use topics and projects like this to make them improve upon what they are doing.
One of the members of the jury was Dr. Dianga Brenda. She appreciated the choice of his team, which she says is aimed at changing mindsets of media professionals as they go about their job. The journalists who had been practicing for years but took a bold step to upgrade knowledge on modern-day journalism, the do's and the don'ts, has been applauded by his colleagues. He received an excellent score at the end of his defense.
La thématique, elle est intitulée Collecte de l'information à l'ère des réseaux sociaux.
The Faculty of Letters and Human Sciences at the University of Douala trains hundreds of journalists daily who have the uphill task to impact their communities through quality reporting. Scores of other journalists took turns on September 30 to defend their thesis at the University of Douala. Young climate leaders are currently packaging their ideas and proposals for the upcoming COP26. They are meeting at the residence of the British High Commissioner to Cameroon for a pre-COP26 event holding in Milan, Italy. It should be noted that the United Kingdom and Italy are co-presiding the November 2021 COP26 slated for Calas Accord. As we get the following story.
The youths have their place as far as the fight against climate change is concerned. Their implication in the global fight imperative.
Engaging the youth in climate and climate activism and the fight against climate change is critical to the future of the planet and to reducing climate emissions and to managing the effects of climate change.
The young and dynamic climate leaders are forced for the mission.
Si on veut inscrire
for the
cette
fight against climate change to last, the youth should not be excluded.
Les jeunes.
The event is Thursday at the residence of the British High Commissioner in Yaoundé, occasion to watch the live screening debate by their peers. Hundreds of young climate leaders attending the Youth for Climate Driving Ambition, a pre-COP youth event this day at Milan, in Italy. I find that it is above all their interest to sensitize and continue to talk about the subject and even to contact the private sector, put something together with the government. Opportunity to come up with ideas and proposals on pressing issues on the climate agenda.
Key priority for the youth to be heard. It's a key priority for the civil society also to have a sort of strong message and a sort of great commitment that will be set on the table of the high leaders who will be present at COP26.
Activities in line with the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, COP26, come next November the 1st to the 12th, 2021 at Glasgow, Scotland.
If we keep emissions and heating down as close as we can to 1.5, the effects of climate change in Cameroon and on the Cameroonian people will be a lot less severe than if we fail to do that.
With presidency partners, Italy and the United Kingdom.
Yaoundé will next Monday play host to a high-level event, the Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum. It would be an opportunity for them to come together, all the 8 governors of the Boko Haram affected territories, to discuss regional cooperation, stabilization, peace building. As we hear the following story with Beatrice Ngamu.
Over the last decade, the 4 countries around the Lake Chad Basin, Cameroon, Chad, Niger and Nigeria, have experienced unprecedented level of crisis, worsened by the repeated violence incidents from the Boko Haram terrorist group. Instability deepens, economic growth shut down, creating intense humanitarian concerns in the region. It is the effort to find mutual solution to this common problem that the Governors Forum was born. 8 governors are involved here. Cameroon, represented by the far north and north regions, Lac and Adjel Lamis provinces for Chad, Difa region in Niger, and Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe states for Nigeria. The Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum is primary platform for cross-border dialogue, cooperation, and exchange. This in order to support the ongoing national, regional, and multilateral efforts towards stabilization in the Lake Chad Basin region. The 3rd Forum of Lake Chad Basin Governors, though an annual rendezvous, will be occasion to discuss issues of mutual interest, share experiences, and identify critical cross-border and regional programs and policy initiatives to stabilize the Boko Haram affected communities.
And that report brings us to this edition of Newscast in the English language on Canal the International. Thanks so much for watching. We have news in the French language at exactly 7:50. This never second with Alenchis Lenkanga. But coming up next is the brief with Buba Ngomno. As for me, I'll be back on Monday on another edition of the news in English.